All right. Give it a moment. Greetings to the beloved across the world. My name is Iron Bush. This is the first time that I will be doing a teaching on YouTube. So if you're not familiar with who I am and the knowledge that is taught through me, then welcome. For all of those that came over from Facebook, you are much appreciated and greetings. Um, what I will ask you to do is take a moment to go ahead and share this to your Facebook page. All right now. So I'm gonna do the same thing. You just gotta look on the screen, look for share. All right. So we'll do that. Boom. Okay. Now, I'm not going to go too far with the introductions. I'm not going to worry about how many people are coming in right now. Being as though it's the first time coming on YouTube, I don't expect it to be a whole bunch of people in here live. That's none of our concern. The concern is to get this teaching out. So without all the elongated introductions, we're going to go ahead and jump right into it. Now, as the teaching progresses, give me 1 second to get this one here. As the teaching progresses, you will see what I mean when I say teachings of the highest order from the Magi nation. All right. At the very highest, it's the Magi nation of the Most High, who is the true creator, not the God of this world. Okay. Um, Most people know about the zodiac and know about what's in the stars in the sky, but they don't really know. They've only been told small things. They barely have they have such a small level of understanding about what it truly is. All right. We are going to peel back all the levels of falsehood, of basically wizardry and witchcraft that has been hijacked from the true meaning of what's in the stars, what's in the sky. Every time you go out and look, and they tell you about horoscopes and all of this, and you really don't, no one has ever told you what's really, what the true story is, and how the ancestors knew it, and how we get all these stories, these dumbed down versions of it that either get turned into false religions or wizardry, pretty much, and they give you a piece of it just to keep you going the whole opposite way. All right. With that being said, this is a first part of a 13-part teaching. All right. The reason it's 13 is because this is the introduction to it. I have to do this to give you the base level so we can move forward, and then it's going to be a 12 parts showing each zodiac and what the story truly is. With that being said, let's begin. Now, I'm going to put a picture on the screen that is, I might end up putting it on putting my book actually on the screen. You don't got to worry too much about this. I will change the pictures as needed, but what you're looking at is this is actually the pictures of all the constellations and stuff like that. So let me see, I have different ones, and like I said, as needed, I will go through them and we'll go ahead and I'll point things out. Right now, we just need to dive into the words. Now, you see how the ancients knew that in the middle was the earth? They've switched it and put the sun there. They put the sun there, but the ancients knew in the middle was the earth. Okay. Get a sip of water. And I want to give all praise and glory to the Most High living God, but I also would like to thank all the ancestors that came before us that have contributed to this teaching. Okay. Now, when most people view the light of the astronomical science, their mind gets overwhelmed and lost. All right, because of the vastness and magnificence of the worlds and the systems that roll and shine above, around, and even beneath us. All right, so we know we have the sun. Okay, and everybody knows about the sun, and you know they pretty much lied to you about NASA and what the sun is, and that we're going around the sun and this and that, because they don't want you to feel like that creation revolves around you. They want you to feel like we are going around something. We're small and insignificant, and we're just floating in outer space, and pretty much we're like little ants and we don't matter. They don't want you to know that creation revolves around you, that we are the center, we are the apple of the Creator's eye, right here. All right, so the system, in the center of it, there are 8 primary planets. Okay. 85 asteroids, 21 satellites, or what are called moons, and several hundred what they call comets. Okay, so let's just keep that in mind. All of these exist on one plane, an Earth plane. This right here is just, this little ball is just one crater on the, what we could say is a larger Earth, but they tell you it's the solar system. But all the comets and planets and all that exist on the same plane of existence. It's just each crater has their own toroid field, their own energy. Now, with all of these orbs and planets and this, there's an innumerable host of suns and systems. So there is not just one orb that we call the sun. That's just right here, the reflection of the. Now, there is only one source of the light that we call the sun. Let me be clear. It's only one sun on the macro, but on the micro, there's more than one sun down here, in other places in the what they call the solar system. The sun that we see is just reflecting off of the what's known as the firmament. It's a reflection. There are myriads of stars, which also exist pretty much primarily down here on the plane. Now, these are the lights and light bearers, or luminaries, to which most religious text refers. Okay, which the word has brought all of these into being. Okay, so even the light bearers and the lights and all the lights you see, the word of the Creator has brought all of them into existence. Now, we know the word as being Christ. So the word, or Christ, that came out of the mouth of the Creator placed all the lights everywhere you see them perfectly, and the reflections that you see in the firmament, in the heavens. Okay, so these wonderful creations are almighty power and wisdom, were not without a purpose. See, they're not just lights just floating around and you think they're just nothing. You just go outside and you see the stars, and they told you a Big Dipper, a Little Dipper, and you don't really know what they tell you, the zodiac, and then they you know a little bit about horoscopes, but you really don't know. Okay, they were not designed without a purpose. It was the will of the eternal God to be known. All right, that's what physical manifestation is. For the unseen God to be seen. All right, to have creatures, or not only creatures, but beings that were made to understand and understand and enjoy the Creator's glory. Okay, to acquaint them with His intelligence, His power, and His perfections, to fill all of us with a sense of existence and potent presence of an infinite creative mind. All right, that's the connection with the true God, the mind of God, the Holy Spirit, from which all things proceed and on which all beings and creatures depend. All the purposes of creation we cannot begin to fathom or comprehend. All right, there's this is just one level, but it's a higher level than most have ever been given. This teaching that we're going to slowly get into. The invisible things of creation of the world are clearly seen. The enemy are the ones that have taken it and made it not clear for you. They're the ones that have made you not be able to see, what's going on when the Creator, the plan was for you to be able to see it all clearly. Okay. Now, let me see. Now, in the Bible and in the Quran, when God created these heavenly worlds, He said, "And let them be for signs." All right. So, what is a sign? A sign is something that's arbitrarily selected and appointed to represent some other thing. The letters of the alphabet are signs, signs of sounds and numbers. The notes on a clef of music, when you're reading music on a paper, the musical notes on paper are signs, signs of the pitch and the value of certain tones of voice of that instrument. So you can't look at the piece of paper and see a music sign and actually hear the music. The same way when you see these creatures and different paintings and things, it's a way for you to look at the sign, but can you hear it? Can you hear the message? That's what it's about. And that's what this teaching is about. Now, so with the music, the signs on paper are signs of the pitch and the value of certain tones of voice or an instrument, which is the vibration, again, a frequency, which is the word, which we call Christ. Now, men have agreed from all ages to employ these vibrations for different purposes. It can be good or it can be bad. Just like the hijacking of the zodiac, NASA tells you all these different things. They've employed it for confusion, while our ancestors used it for good. Okay, so God said of the celestial luminaries, let them be for signs, used to signify something beyond and additional to what they evidence and express in their nature and natural offices, meaning these things are way deeper than what they've told you. For ages, this whole field has been almost entirely left to a superstitious and idolatrous astrology, which has befouled a noble and divine science and done immeasurable damage to the souls of men through wizardry. All right. This is a sacred domain laid out of God in the original intent of creation itself. What does that mean? The whole story of creation is actually right here. This is the entire story of creation. This is how the evil people know what time to do certain things. They even tell you, people like Beyonce and people release their albums according to these different these luminaries lining up. The elections Political elections are ran due to the luminaries. Wars are set in place when these are at certain alignments. They all know this. Okay? Basically, they've taken the word which is written in the sky, which is Christ, and they've become antichrist. So we know that basically we can look up and suspect the existence of some original, true, and sacred thing that's in these stars, out of which all the false science and base superstition has grown, and which now we've been left with the perversion. All right, it's a system in the world that stop it, baby. I'm teaching. It had great truth at the root of it, but now it's all confusion and it's all pretty much falsehood. Evil is always perverted good. Naya. Evil always takes good and perverts it because evil can't create something this profound. It can't do it. Evil is not smart and is not connected to the creator. It's trying to be like the creator. See, we're connected. We're connected to the being that made all this. The people that aren't are trying to copy it and they pervert it. So it's the spoliation of some better thing going before it. Basically, you're going to get the true version that came before the perversion of this. And so there's reason to think that there is a great original divine science connected with these stars, which astrology has prostituted, which it is our duty, it's my duty, to search it out and to turn it to its proper use, which this is what I'm doing. And you share this and you get this out there, you will be part of doing it too. So these are all hieroglyphs. All of these are ancient hieroglyphs that trace to the Chaldeans, Phoenicians, Canaanites, the Kabbalah, the Merkaba doctrine, the ancient Cometists, all the alchemists, the Hermeticists, all of them, it all goes back to all of them. Constellations are known all over the world from the beginning. Many attributed them a divine and prophetic virtue, meaning they turned them into gods. Every society had turned these things into individual gods, which is why you have so many different gods and religions, because they turned each one of these into a god. Idolatry. The signs are measured out, right? So descriptions and divine wisdom might appear for you. They're there for you. Why do you think they've been perverted so much? And what it is it's the original promise of the Messiah and his work of conquering the serpent through his sufferings. It's what the whole story is. It's the story of the Messiah is written in the very stars. And I'm going to get into the pictures. I know you're just looking at a screen right now. Just pretend you're listening to the radio. It ain't no different than you listening to the radio right now. So you don't need a whole elaborate video. When I need these, I will start pointing them out and teaching you this. Right now, we're just getting into it. But yeah, it's the suffering. It's the promise of the Messiah, his work in conquering of the serpent through his sufferings. In all the nations of the world in every time period, there's a divine person born of a woman, suffering in conflict with the serpent, but triumphing over him at last. It don't matter what culture you come from, what time period you come from, what age you come from. There's a divine person, a Messiah, born of a woman, without the seed of a man. The woman's seed, suffering in conflict against a serpent and ultimately defeating him in the end. Astronomy which is not astrology. Astronomy and astrology are two different things. Astronomy was the soul of the Egyptian religious system, same as the Chaldeans and the Assyrians. Okay, it all goes back to all the ancient cultures. You're given the lies and the falsehoods of it. It's evident from the opening of the first tablet of the great Chaldean work on astrology and astronomy that the functions of the stars were, according to the Babylonians, to act not only as regulators of the seasons of the year, but also used as signs. The heavenly bodies gave, by their appearance and positions, signs of events which were coming to the earth. Men, women, beasts, birds, monsters, and reptiles all have their signification. All right, you see it all. You can. I know it's a hard picture to see, but you can see. You can see all. You can see birds, Virgo, the woman. You can see right here the mother, the seed of the mother. You can see right here, man with the harvesting tool. You can see the serpents and the bulls and the beasts, and I mean it's all there. The whole story is there in every religion. It's all written right in the sky, and they want you to think it's some kind of sorcery or witchcraft, something that it's not. But the fact remains that the wise men did actually come to Bethlehem to find and worship the newborn Savior, which moved and led by astronomical signs, which they never could have understood or understood as they did if there had not been associated with the stars a definite and prophetic promise, which they could read that's bypassed language. It's visual. That's why it says every person will have the chance to acknowledge Christ. You will have the chance to hear the gospel because it's in the sky. Even the deaf man. And it's all from God, the true God. So we may well suppose the infinite mind of God wouldn't overlook nor leave anything unutilized. So why would you think he would leave the sky and the stars and something that every person could see unutilized? If he give you a book, how much more would he make something that couldn't be changed? If he would give tablets and stone and clay, how much more would he give you the story and something that couldn't be altered or broken? The Hebrews call this the Maseroth, all right, which is the fact that God has spoken, that he gave to the earliest of mankind a revelation equally important to the latest generation of mankind, even of those very truths written for us until the ends of the world are to come. It will be written in the sky. We have here a glorious record of ancient faith and hope and testimony from the first believers all the way to us, of a time invincible, of the invincible gospel on which our expectations of eternal life are built. It's right in the skies. Not to the being and attributes of an eternal creator alone, but above all, to the specific and peculiar work of our redemption, and to him in whom standeth our salvation are these lights in the firmament, the witnesses and signs. What does that mean? That means all the constellations themselves are witnesses to Christ. All of them. And that's what this teaching is about. After this teaching, let me be clear. Oh, hold on. Let me be clear. After this teaching, there's no way anybody in their right mind can deny what Christ is and think that the story of Christ is some kind of false made up thing, because that would mean that the sky itself would have to be false and made up. So yeah, you could say that we're in some kind of matrix, but the matrix itself was built on top of an organic simulation. Okay, what it was all about, the you and I verse, the universe, the university of souls, the you and I, the verse is a verse, a spoken word of the creator that's set into existence. The matrix is just the artificial mind, the artificial mind that has created and supplanted, the supplanter that has made something false, the falsehood on top of it. So after this teaching, it don't matter what you have heard. I'm not talking about accepting the religion of Christianity. I'm talking about what the true Christ is. What it is, you can no longer deny it. There's no way you will be able to deny it after this vast teaching. Okay. Now, in the book of Psalms, okay, which is the twofold world of nature and revelation, the heavens, it says, the heavens declare the glory of God. Okay, more than the celestial bodies, just, and just glowing. It says, showing forth of his handiwork, his wisdom and power. The glory of God cannot be learned from nature alone. This is the folly of many people. They think only nature can show the glory of God. Nature shows the moral attributes of deity and manifestations in moral government and preeminently his glory in the sending incarnation of persons, revelations, offices, achievements of Christ, of the Christ above all, has God shown forth his glory. The glory of God really is in Christ. The unseen God glory is in the story of Christ. There can therefore be no full and right true enlightenment declaring the glory of God which does not reach and embrace Christ. The story of redemption through him, through Christ. The starry worlds declare or show forth Christ as the Redeemer. They must do it as signs used for that purpose. Now, in the book of Psalms, it says the heavens declare the glory of God. The story of Christ expressed by the stars. That's what it is. That's what David was trying to say. That the story of Christ was in the stars. Now, David may or may not have understood it, but the Holy Ghost spoke through him regardless. The gospel is chiefly made up of the story of the serpent and the cross. The doctrine of the fall of man and the angels, depravity of man through the subtle dragon, the old serpent called the devil and Satan, which deceiveth the whole world, and the recovery of fallen man through a mightier one, mightier than the serpent, who comes from heaven, assumes human nature like you, and by suffering like you, by death like you, and exaltation to the right hand of the supreme dominion, vanquishes the dragon and becomes the author of eternal salvation. Wow. This is the true gospel. So you don't have to read the Bible to get the gospel. You can learn it from this right here. You can look at the stars and learn the gospel. And the evil people have just fully taken the story and turned it into something it's not, is what it is. Now, in the Bible, the very first chapters tell us of a subtle and evil spirit contemplated and named the serpent, through whose agency Eve was beguiled. Beguiled was the word NASA. So the serpent, the very first word deceived or beguiled is the word NASA. So if you think NASA's telling you the truth about all of this, then you've already been deceived. Because let me show you. It shows, right? You see this right here? You see this white light right here that goes over top of all? That's what they call Lucifer. All right? The Milky Way. That's what they call Lucifer, and this is one part of the serpent. So the evil people call the whole zodiac the serpent because they're talking about this. They're embracing this energy for evil. So this is just one of many of the serpents that's in there. The light bearer. Um so the first word beguiled is NASA. So we know how there's a connection to the stars. So beguiled Eve and the whole human race through two persons, the divine feminine, divine masculine, brought into sin, condemnation, and death because we weren't supposed to die originally. We were supposed to have eternal life from the start, which we will get because of Christ. Adam was yet in paradise, and he was driven out into an adverse world. What does that mean? He left his light body and took on a flesh suit because he got tricked by the false energy. That's what happened. Adam took on a fleshly body, left his light body, went out into the fallen world that you see now, the illusion of the micro to the macro. We was up here with it. We was up here with it before. We fell all the way to this little chunk. We was up here with it, and now we fell right here. We right here now. We fell all the way to here. And the Most High God pronounced a sentence on the serpent, and he said, "Because thou hast done this, thou art cursed, and I will put enmity between thee and the woman, and between her seed and thy seed. He shall bruise thy head." Now I said it because it's talking about Christ, the Christ energy. Not it's a he and it's a it. Yeah, he incarnated, but it's a it because it exists in you. He exists in you. The Christ energy is in you. So he shall bruise thy head, and thou shalt bruise his heel. Genesis 3:14. So the dragon, the slaying of him by that mighty one, to be born of a woman who would have to toil and suffer indeed, just like you are now, but would not give over till his victory be complete. Man. And you're part of that victory if you're here. So it was a promise, the crushing out of the destroyer by the wounded Savior. The wounded Savior is known as the Lamb. In other words, from the very beginning of human history, there was a master theme. The chief substance, the substance of all prophecy and promise of every age, every culture, Egyptian, Chaldean, Phoenician, whatever, even the Hopis, of all prophecy and promise to the sum of all faith and hope from the foundation of the world, which you see in the stars in the sky. It stands written upon the stars as an everlasting witness of God's gracious purposes towards our race, towards mankind, and that the heavens do verily declare the highest glory of God. With only our weak and unaided powers to make the commencement of this study, in the days that we live now, if we was to try to do this and the teaching that you're getting now, it would be almost impossible. But we're taking the teachings of the ancestors, men and women, who lived almost 1,000 years in one life. Men with powers of vision that lasted undimmed through nearly a decade of centuries. Do you know what that means? That means this knowledge is coming from men, our ancestors, our forefathers that lived a decade of centuries. That means a decade is 10 years. They lived 10 years of centuries, almost 1,000 years. Can you fathom it? You can't even fathom wait until next year. You can't even fathom 100-year life. The revelation in this teaching that is coming to you, like I say, we're slowly getting into it. I have to do it slowly or you're not going to be able to grasp it. And it's my job as a teacher to give it to you like a course. You can't go learn anatomy and go sit down at a TikTok channel and think you're going to become a surgeon. Okay, you're going to have patience and sit here and listen to this. As I am going off of notes, I had to write notes upon notes to give this. This took me a long time to get this prepared for you in a way that I know by the end you're going to fully grasp it. So if you have the patience to sit here and learn and pay attention and take notes when needed, you will get it. All right. So this comes from men and our ancestors that lived 1,000 years. Men with minds with much closer communion than ours with the infinite and eternal intelligence. Men who were closer to their higher self. They have employed themselves. They have helped us as they were by the great Maker Spirit in observing, classifying, grouping, and designated these starry worlds. All of this that you see. Assigning them their names, marking their courses, and making them the bearers of wisdom for generations to come. The most precious wisdom ever made known to man that cannot be defiled visually. They can't touch it. They can only distort the story. All right, so we can retrace and bring our minds into communion with the ancestors. So we're told that, the stars some are brighter than others. And the Bible says one star differeth from one another star in glory. Some hold their places from age to age. They stay put with variations so slight they just barely are observable in 1,000 years. Some of them are wandering stars, changing places continually, going and returning at fixed intervals. Some of them are nestled together in particular groups and stand alone in special glories. Only by the long and careful observation and study of them has it come to be known how the heavenly configuration stood and will stand at any particular period of time. See, the evil people have done this and they live off of it, and they don't want you to know this. They want you to live life and be stupid, pretty much, stumbling through your life. They want you to stumble through your life and think that this is evil for you to know this. So we got to break this down into the groups. First is the constellations. What is a constellation? What is this? Constellation is a certain set of stars, a cluster or group. They cover all the principal stars that are visible to the naked eye. Now, in the primeval astronomy, the number of these figures or star groups was 48. 48 groups. Now, in imitation of them, dozens more have been added, mostly by modern philosophers and all these false prophets, including NASA. They're all totally meaningless. The only ones that are true and original are 48. All the rest are meaningless. They were added. They are the ones that was added they are no part of the original writing upon the stars. The original 48 constellations are formed on the line which the sun mark in the progress of the year. It's called the ecliptic. Let me see. It's called the ecliptic. You see this circle? That's where the sun moves. They tell you the earth is moving. The earth wobbles. Earth plane wobbles because it's the energy wave. When the energy comes to this side of the bigger earth, the solar system, it comes back and it wobbles. It's called the analemma. Okay, it makes the sun do like a bow tie thing in the sky, in the moon. It's called the analemma. That's from the energy wave going this way, hitting the shore, the solar system, coming back. That's the analemma. The sun goes on this ecliptic and goes around here and goes through the 12 zodiacs. Okay. And through all the constellations. So the line which the sun seems to move, it moves 30 degrees every month. Hence your 33-degree Freemasonry. They say you're not a master until you get to 30-degree Freemason. The reason being because the sun it moves 30 degrees every month. And at the end of the 12th month, it appears again where it started at the beginning. They show the Ouroboros, the serpent eating they turned it into the serpent eating its tail. Well, they glorify the serpent, but we're about the sun. So started at the beginning of the first month. Now the moon and the planets follow this the same path and are always seen within 8 or 9 degrees of the line of the sun's course. So basically the moon and the stars have a belt it's about 16 degrees wide, because it can go 8 degrees this way or 8 degrees this way from the sun's path. So it can be about 16 degrees. All right, that's your 12 degrees of 12 grades in school, and then your 4 years of college. That's their basic education. That's the 16 degrees. All right, the basic path. See how even they even give it in the education system where they know this. Even the educational system is based off of this astronomy. So, extending around the entire circuit of the heavens, half the year north and half the year south of the equator of the earth. So, half the year, the south of the equator, let me show. Where's that picture? So, where'd it go? Right here. So half the year, the bottom part of right here can see certain things, and the top part can see certain things. Now, while the sun is making its annual course from west to east, the sun, you only see the sun coming, what they say coming up in the east. It's approaching, but its annual course is from the west to the east. That's called the precession of the equinox. So it moves backwards in the signs. Okay, we'll get to that later. The moon, while the sun's doing that, the moon makes 12 complete revolutions around the earth. That means while the sun does this one time, the moon does it 12 times. The moon does it 12 times while the sun moves through the houses once. The moon does it 12 different times. Okay? So it divides the belt into 12 parts or sections of 30 degrees each. That's what you call your months or your months. Your month is a month. It's a piece of the moon. The 12 pieces of the moon is your month. Okay? 30 degrees each. 12 times 30 degrees is a complete circle. 360. 12 times 30. Now they try to tell you 365. That's the changing of the days by the Romans. So we got 12 equal steps in the sun's path as it makes its circuit through the heavens. Steps or stages. These steps or stages are called the zodiac. From the root word zoad, it means the way. Zoad means the walk, the path, or the way. Steps, like Jacob's ladder. So the 12 signs, each of these steps are a certain number of fixed stars, making what's called a constellation. That's your zodiac. That's what, when they tell you Virgo or Aquarius, that's the constellation, which is a set group of stars, which has its own figure, picture, or Like we said, signs declare the Creator's glory. Each zodiac has its own sign to designate it and what it's called, hence the 12 signs of the zodiac. All right. And our ancestors had much regard in the timing of these and did everything by the timing of these houses, much how the elites do now. All the elites time their industries and all their political, undertakings by what's going on in these signs. All right, so let's go through them real quick. Let's read some of them real quick. So first we have, and this is the ancient beginning of the year. Now they'll tell you, even the people that claim they're Hebrew Israelites and things, now they'll tell you that the beginning of the year was the spring equinox. That's not true. Wasn't in May. It wasn't in April, May, Ishtar. That's something totally different. It was September. The beginning of the year was Virgo. And all of our ancestors knew that Virgo was the beginning of the calendar. This was common knowledge. Virgo is the beginning of the year. Only later you will be told it's the 7th month. See, they make you think that that it just got changed or something. The times have been changed so many times. Gregorian, Julian, this one, lunar, solar, they've changed it so many times. The original was in the sky. Virgo is the first month, the first year of the beginning of the year. So Virgo the Virgin, the figure of a young woman lying prostrate with an ear of wheat in one hand and a branch in the other. Then we have Libra, the scales, the figure of a pair of balances with one end of the beam up and the other end of the beam down. So it's not balanced, it's out of balance. With one end of the beam weighing, it's in the act of weighing, all right? Clearly in the stars. In some of the old holography, they actually had a woman holding the scales. That's your Kemetic, the scales of Ma'at. So now they tell you it's a man holding the scales. Originally it was a woman, the scales of Ma'at. So we had two women. We have Virgo, the Virgin. Then we have the scales of Ma'at, another woman. Then we have Scorpio, the scorpion, the figure of a gigantic and deadly being with its tail and sting uplifted in anger as if it's striking. Now listen, these are brief. We're going to dive deep in this. This is just to give you the foundation. Then we have Sagittarius, the bowman, the figure of a horse with the body, arms, and head of a man, a centaur, the centurion. In your Bible, it's also in there as a Roman, the centurion, okay, who had someone paralyzed at their house and went to Christ. It's all in the stars, the whole story. The centaur, the Sagittarius, has a drawn bow arrow pointed at the scorpion. The arrow is pointed at the scorpion. Capricorn, or Capricornus, the goat, the figure of a goat sinking down as dying. The goat is dying. The Baphomet, with the hinder part of his body terminating in the vigorous tail of a fish. So the goat is turning into a fish while it's dying. Dagon. Then we have Aquarius, the water man, the figure of a man with a large urn, the contents of which he is in the act of pouring out in a great stream from the sky. Then we have Pisces, the fishes, the figures of two large fishes in the act of swimming. one northward, the other with the ecliptic. So one fish is going north and the other fish is swimming with the ecliptic, following the sun. That's the North Pole, all right, or the throne, and it's following the ecliptic, the two fishes of Pisces. Because one is the sun. That's when the Christ incarnated. See, all the stories before Christ were prophecies. And they tell you that these beings actually lived, but they didn't. It was prophecies from looking in the stars. It only happened one time. The incarnation in the flesh only happened once, and it didn't happen how all the ancestors and religious people and Illuminati and all the people, the Magi, it didn't happen how they thought. They were waiting on some kind of ruler to come rule with a iron rod, and it didn't happen like that. So most of them said, this ain't the Messiah. Then after Pisces is Aries, the ram. Now, it wasn't just the ram. A lot of the ancestors actually called it the lamb. The figure of a strong sheep with powerful curved horns, lying down in easy composure and looking out in conscious strength over the field around it. Looking out like, boy, I know ain't nobody finna step up here. Taurus is next. The bull. The figure of the shoulders, neck, head, and horns. The front feet of a powerful bull in the attitude of rushing and pushing forward with great energy. This is connected to the time of the Egyptians. We'll get into that later. Then we have Gemini, the twins, a man and woman, sometimes called Adam and Eve. And I've done a teaching on that about the ages. I'll quickly show you the diagram. I've broken this down myself about the different ages. The age of Cancer with the moon. First is the age of Leo with the sun. Before that was Virgo, the beginning. Then we have the age of Cancer, the moon. Then we have the age of Gemini, which also goes in Hebrew text. The first word of your Bible is Bereshith. The very first word that in your Bible says in the beginning, it actually says be reset, Bereshith, and it's 6 characters. Here's the first character, the Bet. The second is the Resh, which is the head man, God man, which goes with the age of Gemini, Adam and Eve, the Christ. That all will be published in my book, The Most High Willing. All of these graphs and this teaching I'm giving you now, it all will be in the publication that will be out, the first Iron Bush book. So where were we? Gemini, the twins, a man and a woman, sometimes called Adam and Eve, usually 2 human figures, closely united and seated together in endeared affection. Some of the older representations shows the figure consists of 2 goats or kids. This is where they get the word kid from, because they try to say it was 2 goats in the Gemini constellation, but it represents more Adam and Eve. The divine feminine, divine masculine. Then we have Cancer, the crab. The figure of a crab in the act of taking and holding on with its strong pincher claws. Now in Kemetic astronomy, it was the scarab, the scarabus beetle. Okay, so when you see the scarab in Kemetic or Egyptian time, it was Cancer. That anytime you see the scarab beetle in ancient Egyptian time, it was Cancer, or what is now known as the crab. Grasping and holding on to a ball in which its eggs are deposited. That the crab took the place of that. Next we have the lion, Leo, the figure of a great rampant lion, leaping forth to rend with his feet over the writhing body of Hydra. This is a real constellation, Hydra. The lion is ripping apart the Hydra, the serpent, which is in the act of fleeing. The Hydra is running from the lion, y'all. Running. Okay? So these are the 12 cardinal signs. They cover all the visible heavens, extend entirely around the earth, and that's your solar zodiac. Okay, now let me show you this picture. Now, a lot of people don't know we have a lunar zodiac. I'm going to show you. These pictures might not mean much to you now. By the time you're done this teaching, you'll be able to tell people things they never knew. Okay. Let me see, try to zoom in. This right here is the lunar zodiac. Now, do you see how it goes? You see these balls? You see that, all these little balls right here. You see how they go down? What does that look like? This is the lunar zodiac right here, the picture of it. What does that look like right there? Does anybody know? What does that look like? It looks like the Kabbalah, the Tree of Life, the Sephiroth. All they did was add one right here that they call Source, the foundation. But the Sephiroth is, it actually is the ancient matriarchy lunar mansions. The moon mansions or lunar zodiac, what we would say. That is what the Sephiroth is. That's why the ancient Hebrews go by the moon, moon calendar. Still to this day, on the Passover, they do the Passover by the moon and everything, and it looks similar to this. Now see, you can see the stages of the moon right there. You see them? They got little pictures right there, and that's what it is. Which also is the planets. Also, now we'll get into that. So, grab my notes. So, ancient astronomy. Our ancestors gave further subdivision of these 12 signs I just went over into 28 mansions. They called mansions of the moon or the lunar zodiac. This is also where you get the story of Osiris, the 14, chopped into 14 pieces. All the same thing. Now the moon makes its revolution around the earth in about 28 days. And it's coursed through the heavens into 28 sections or 28 steps, one for each day. 2 of these sections or mansions, in my father's house are many mansions, are embraced in each sign. That means the moon stays in each zodiac sign in a 28-day period for 2 days each. That's Osiris getting chopped up. Before, they were saying man was whole and could experience the full power of being in alignment at all times. That means the lunar light and the solar light was in you at all times, a perfect alignment at all times. That's your light body. From the fall of man, the fall of angels, we've been divided, division through sin. We've been divided, so now this light, that's the story of Osiris getting chopped into 14 pieces. It only goes into your zodiac house 2 days, about two days and just a couple hours each month or each 28 days, each solar zodiac. All right, so each mansion is marked with its own particular name and smaller group of stars. Now, because the lunar mansions in lunar zodiac is so old, it's not uniformly the same through different our ancestors. It's like the pictures and stuff. Rather, it's from the names of the mansions and the stars in them that we can make the connections with the lunar. The significations are learned through the names and etymology. Now, from the lunar, the next thing you got to know before we can move through this teaching is the 36 deacons. They're called decans. Okay? This is also where the church gets the word deacon from. So the 12 great zodiac signs do not stand alone. Each one of them, let's see. Each one of the 12 zodiac signs has 3 other constellations in them called decans. From the Shemitic deck, like Melchizedek, it means a part or a piece. Melchizedek, deck is a deacon. Melchizedek was the deacon, a deacon of the true creator. So each 12 signs, each zodiac sign got 3 deacons. So it's 36 deacons in all. It's a part or a piece. The deacons, according to the Persians, Babylonians, and Egyptians, in the Arabs, in their language call them faces. So the deacons was known as faces. There are 3 deacons to each sign of the way. Remember, Zodia, like zodiac meant the way. So it's 3 faces to sign the way. Even the natives in the Americas have these deacons. All the native tribes, all in North America, South America, everywhere know about these 36 deacons. So it ain't just the Abrahamic people. In Egypt, every month was supposed to be under the care of 3 deacons or directors. Okay, it actually in Egypt the deacons was the most important part of the religion. The 36 of these, each superintending 10 days. So each deacon, when it comes through and comes into the deacons, remember each sign got 3 deacons. Each deacon got 10 days. And these deacons were believed to exercise the most extensive influence. Remember that. So now we're going to go through the deacons of each sign real quick, which is all right here. I'll try to point them out at a later time, but right now, let's just teach it. So the deacons, let me show you, let me use Virgo. Let's see. Let me find, where's Virgo at? All right, so only reason I know Virgo so much because I am a Virgo. It might be out of sight on this picture. Well, basically the deacons are these stars, these dots that you see. It might be a little hard to see. I wish I had better tech. Maybe coming on YouTube, if everybody come up, we can get YouTube to pay the bills over here, and I can get some better, hardware, so I can just share the screen and point it out to you guys, like, in a better way. But see these 3 stars? See that? Well, you can't really see it. Some are darker than others because they're shine brighter, but each constellation has 3 stars that are called decans. So this is very, very important as we move forward. So the decans of Virgo are the coma, which is the infant, the branch, the desired one. The centaurus is a centaur with a dart piercing a victim. And Boots is also known as Arcturus, which was mentioned in the book of Job, the oldest book in the Bible. Boots is Arcturus. Here's Boots right here. That's Boots right there. Let me see if I can. You guys, this is on my Facebook page. There's Boots. All right, that's Arcturus. That's in the constellation of Virgo. Okay, here's Virgo. This is Coma. This is the picture that you see in ancient Egypt with Horus. It's all in Virgo. All of this is in Virgo right here. So that's why they telling you, oh, Christ is the story of Horus, this and that, because it's written in the stars, y'all. It's just a different time and a different culture trying to tell you the story of Christ. Okay, that's it. But he only incarnated one time into the physical form. That's where everybody's getting it messed up. Right? So here's the little Horus, Haru, sitting on Isis. All right. Here we have Boots. Okay. Hermes, also they call Hermes with the flying boots, Arcturus. All right. So the three decans of Virgo are Coma, the infant, the branch, or the desire one. Or then the Centaurus with a dart piercing the victim. And then Boots or Arcturus, the great shepherd and harvester. That's why you see that. He got a shepherd's staff right here, and he got a harvester right here. This is the shepherd. All right, born of a virgin. The shepherd. A rod and a sickle, walking forth before his flocks. Now, they messed it up and called the flocks bears. The Big Dipper, Little Dipper, Ursa Minor, Ursa Major. They're not really bears. That was lost in translation. Okay, it was the flocks. All right. Then we have the decans of Libra, which is the cross, over which the centaur is advancing, called the Southern Cross. Then we have the victim of the centaur, slain and pierced to death, and then the crown, which the serpent aims to take, called the Northern Crown. Now, guys, in the sign of Libra, that is the first seal of Revelation, where we're told he had a bow and was given, not Libra, that's Sagittarius. It all goes together from Sagittarius to Libra, the first, second, third, and fourth seals of Revelation. Okay. But we're told he'll be given, he had a bow, that's Sagittarius, but will be given a crown. That's moving into the first, second, and third seal. The third seal is the black horse and the scales, when one day's wage will be a loaf of bread. All right, because remember, the sun, the procession goes from west to east, meaning it's going backwards through the signs. So it goes from Sagittarius to Scorpio to Libra to Virgo, which also has to do with the four horses of the apocalypse. I'll get into that later. The decans of Scorpio is the serpent, struggling with Ophiuchus. And then the second decan is Ophiuchus himself, wrestling with the serpent, stung in one heel by the scorpion and crushing it with the other heel. Let's see if I can find it on here. Scorpion. It's hard for me to move this. Virgo, Leo. It should be down here. Let me see. Yeah, it's down here. I might not be able to get it on the page. Let me see. Yeah, it might have been the way I took the picture. Let me see. Scorpio. Got Sagittarius. There he is. There's Ophiuchus. I'm sorry about the glare and stuff, y'all. It's like I said, man, I don't got all this technology and stuff that people got. So here we have Ophiuchus right here. Look, wrestling with the serpent, one of the serpents that's going for the crown, Corona Borealis. Ophiuchus in Scorpio is got this snake wrestling with it, serpents going up here trying to get the crown, Corona Borealis, which was the first seal opening. Revelation, the four horses of the apocalypse. It's all in the sky, y'all. You want to know where we're at in Revelation? You only need to look to the sky and the times and know this. See, Scorpio's right here, but this is all in the Scorpio's constellation. Here's Libra, then Virgo with boots, Arcturus, and all that. Do you see? So the decans of Scorpio is the serpent, Ophiuchus, and Hercules, wounded in his heel, the other foot over the dragon's head, holding in one hand the golden apples and the three-headed dog of hell, and in the other the uplifted club. Right here. It's upside down, but you see it? He got the three-headed dog of hell. That's Hercules. He's upside down, but that's Hercules right there. Do you see? The whole story, y'all. So the deacons of Sagittarius is Lyra. Let me move it. The first one in Sagittarius is Lyra, which is right here, which we see the evil people always using these symbols. That's Lyra right there. It's upside down on this picture. That's Lyra. That's one of the deacons in Sagittarius. You see, he had a bow, went forth conquering and to conquer, and was given a crown. So when he went forth conquering and to conquer, he was given a crown, the serpent seeking the crown. So the deacons of Sagittarius is Lyra, an eagle holding the lyre, as in the triumphant gladness. The next one is Era, the altar, with consuming fires burning downward. Okay. And then third is Draco, the dragon, the old serpent, winding himself about the pole in horrid links and contortions. What pole? What pole is Draco, the Draconians, right here in the middle? What pole is he wrapping around? What pole is this Draco, this old serpent, right here, Draco, wrapping around? He's wrapping around the North Pole. Because it's no longer the North Pole. Now the North Pole is Polaris. It switched. It back in the long days, the ancient days, the pole star was Alpha Draconis right here. After the pole shift or the apocalypse, the deluge, whatever you want to call it, it switched to Polaris. Now the serpent is going around the North Pole. Draco. Next, the deacons of Capricorn. We have Sagitta, the arrow or killing dart sent forth, the naked shaft of death. Aquila, another eagle over here. Aquila. So this is in Sagittarius. Or, excuse me, Capricorn. Sigilla, the arrow or killing dart. Then we have Aquila, the eagle, pierced and falling. Aquila got hit by the dart and is falling. Who does that sound like? Who does that sound like? Who's about to get pierced and fall, y'all? What eagle is about to get pierced and fall? United States. It's all written. It's all written, y'all. It's in your book of Revelation. You just never have heard it in this way. Aquila, the great eagle, United States, has been pierced by the dart and is about to fall. This is your third seal. Excuse me, second seal. The red horse of the apocalypse, removing peace from the earth. Then we have Delphinus, the Delphi, the dolphin, springing up, raising out of the sea. Where's Delphi at? The Oracle of Delphi. Right here. Delphi. Delphinus, the dolphin. There's the fallen eagle. Here's the dolphin. Springing up, raised out of the sea. Oh, they also represent that sometimes with the story of the phoenix. It's going to raise from the ashes. Then we have the decans of Aquarius. Very important. Here we have Aquarius, sideways right here, with the head. Picture of water pouring out, going down in a stream. Okay. Now, the decans of Aquarius is the southern fish, right here. The big, see that fish? The southern fish drinking in the stream. Pegasus, here's Pegasus, the white horse. The big white horse coming in the clouds for all to see. In the age of Aquarius, the return of the Son of Man. In the age of Aquarius, look how big Pegasus is for all to see the glory. Pegasus is bigger than most of everything on here. Pegasus is one of the biggest ones. The white horse returning in the clouds for all to see. Pegasus into the age of Aquarius. Right there. That's one of the decans. Or faces of the way. Then we have Cygnus, the swan on the wing, going and returning. The swan bearing the sign of the cross. Right here. Cygnus, or the swan, bears the sign of the cross when the white horse returns for all those to see. See, when he came, the people that was incarnate on the world saw this one, Cygnus, with the cross. That work is done. When he returns, they're going to see him on a white horse coming. See, Aquarius is on top of this white horse. The age of Aquarius. The millennial reign of Christ. The decans of Pisces, the band holding up the fishes. Oh, let me for all my people in Australia, let me show you something. It ain't on, I could not find it, and I couldn't find it anywhere online. And I looked and looked and looked. Let me show you something. Let me show you something. In the age of Aquarius, let me show you. Here's Aquarius. In the age of Aquarius, here's the water bearer pouring it out. There's Pegasus, the white horse, that all will see the Son of Man returning on a white horse. There's the age of Aquarius. When the water gets poured down, and here's one of the fishes, guess what that fish is called? Pisces Australis. Pisces Australis, and it's the southernmost fish. It's at the bottom, meaning the continent, and I will get into this further in this teaching. AU, all, means gold. The Gold Coast, Australia. Now, some people are calling this the Golden Age, otherwise known as the 1,000-year millennial reign of Christ. Australis is going to be in direct alignment with the stream of flowing water. It's going to be the Golden Land. Australia is going to be the forefront, the most fertile property soil pretty much here in the earth realm. Australia is going to be the most revered land by the elites. They're going to want it. That's why they're trying to subdue Australia and New Zealand now. They want it as an island all to themselves, y'all. And their wizards and stuff know what I'm teaching you right now. This right here, as above, so below. Pisces Australis. Okay. Where was I? Let me see. We're in the Decans, Pisces. The Decans of Pisces, the band, which is holding up the fishes, and held by the lamb, is doubled in fast to the neck of Cetus, the sea monster, also known as Leviathan. Let me get it. So it's upside down right here, but you can get the picture. This is Leviathan right here. Cetus. See how it's a big old creature, but see his tail showing you it's in the water. The Leviathan was known as Cetus by the ancestors. It's one of the decans in Pisces. So we got the band holding up the fishes held by the lamb, which is right here. Then we got Cetus. Oh, wait. Where am I at? Okay. The band holding up the fishes held by the lamb is doubled in fast to the neck of Cetus. So it's right here. It's around the neck of the Leviathan. Then we have Cepheus, a crowned king, holding a band and scepter with his foot planted on the pole star as the great victor in the Lord. Right here. That's hard to see, y'all. Again, apologies. He's right here. Cepheus. See, he got a sword, and his foot is on the pole star, or what you know as Polaris. That's one of the decans of Pisces, because we're in the age of Pisces. So one of the decans got his foot on the pole star right now, because we're in the age of Pisces. And then Andromeda. Andromeda's a woman in chains and threatened by the serpents of Medusa's head. Andromeda's right here. Why is the woman in chains right now in the age of Pisces? Well, we know they've got the divine feminine in chains right now. They've got the divine feminine in chains right now this whole time, primarily by all the religions. By all the religions of all the wizards that knew this right here, and they played it out and chose what roles they was going to take and distorted it, and they shackled the divine feminine up. That's the truth. So the decans of Aries are Cassiopeia, which is the woman throned. Let's see. Cassiopeia is the woman throned. And then Ceus, the sea monster, strongly bound by the lamb. This thing is bound up by the lamb. So when they tell you the angel gonna be giving keys to the bottomless pit, Abaddon, to let Abaddon out of the pit, who you think got him bound right now? The lamb got him bound. And then Perseus, an armed and mighty man with winged feet, who is carrying away in triumph the cut off head of a monster, full of writhing serpents and holding aloft a great sword in his right hand. Perseus. Let's see what Perseus is. Okay, so yeah, that was Perseus right there. I must have picked out the wrong one. Yeah, Cepheus is down here. That was Perseus right here. Cepheus is down here with his foot on the North Pole. So the decans of Taurus is Orion. Now, why is this important? Because y'all remember In the age of Taurus, there's Orion. In the age of the bull or Taurus was the age when Egypt or Kemet was thriving. And they aligned the Great Pyramids up with Orion, the 3 stars on his belt. You see his belt? 3 stars. The the 3 pyramids. Great Pyramid of Giza. Orion. Orion's one of the decans in Egypt in the age of Taurus. A glorious prince with a sword girded on his side and his foot on the head of the serpent. Down here. Orion got his foot on the head of the serpent. The second deacon is Eridanus, the tortuous river, accounted as belonging to Orion. And the third is Auriga, the wagoner, the shepherd, carrying a she-goat and 2 little goats on his left arm and holding cords or bands in his right hand, which is let me see. I don't want to spend too much time looking for it. Okay, the deacons of Gemini, Lepus, which is the hare, like a rabbit. In some nations, it's a serpent, the mad enemy under Orion's feet. So it will be up here out of this picture. The second one is Canis Major or Sirius over here. The great dog, also known as Anubis in Egyptian culture. You see, when all this was known, the pyramids, the great pyramids, Anubis, is when the sun was over here on the great journey, on the great year. It's called the great year, the precession of the equinox. This is when Egypt was pretty much running the world. So whoever knows this and is in alignment with this energy is going to be who inherits the earth at this time. Here's Anubis on the ark. Anubis in the ark of the archons. This is actually called the Arco. This is the story of the ark and the flood and Noah knew or Nuwa. The Egyptians called it Nu or Nut, Nuwa. All right, with the Elohim, the 8 passengers, Anubis right here, Sirius, the dog star, where dogma comes from. That's the nose right there of Anubis. That's the deacon of Taurus. All right, or excuse me, Gemini. So we have Lepus, the hare, Canis Major or Sirius, the great dog, the prince that's coming. So even the prince that's coming, all of this is still giving glory to the prince that's coming. So even Noah's Ark was still telling you about the prince that's coming. Now they take the story and they distort it and give you all these lies, tell you archons are coming and then this and that. Yeah, as good is coming, the evil attaches to it too. And then the deacons of Cancer is Ursa Minor, anciently the lesser sheepfold. All right, Ursa Major, Big Dipper and Little Dipper. Ursa Major, anciently the greater sheepfold, in connection with Boots or Arcturus, the Virgo. Remember? So the constellations in Cancer connect directly with the ones in Virgo because they're right across from each other. So Ursa Major, the great sheepfold, is connection with Arcturus, the guardian and keeper of the flock. So remember, Cancer's right here. And we remember Arcturus, our Boots, was right here. Okay. And then the third one is Argo, which is the ship. The company of travelers under the bright canopus, canopus, their prince, The Argonauts return with a golden fleece. Now, Egypt, it's the story of Nut. Nut in the ark. Let's see, can I get there? Right here. The ark, that's in Cancer. In Egypt, it was the scarab beetle, all the symbology, and the ark, or Nut, or Nu, Y, the waters of Nu, and the canopy or canopus that was over top. Okay. And then finally we have the decans of Leo, which is one is Hydra. Right here. You see? Hydra, there's Leo. Let's see if I can zoom in better. So we have Leo right here. The decans are Hydra, the fleeing serpent, trodden under the foot by the crab and the lion. Look, see, the crab and the lion both got the Hydra. The crater, right here, the crater or the cup or bowl of wrath. This is your bowls, the 7 bowls, the cup of wrath, the bowl of wrath, the crater, and the chorus, which is right here, which is the raven, the crow, the raven, the bird of doom, tearing the serpent. This is your Phoenix event that Jason of Archaics talks about. This is right before, this is your 6th seal. See how the bird happens first, and then your 6th seal, 7th seal, and then the bowls, the bowls that get poured out, and then full blown the lion that rips the serpent apart. Guys, I did not think all of that was gonna take that long. Man, it looks like it's going to be more than a 13-part teaching for real. But you know what? It's a good way to start and bring what Iron Bush teachings and ministry is all about. That's only the first part. I see we've been going for 1 hour and 30 minutes. Honestly, that's only about half of what I had intended to get into the first part. Let that resonate with you. I think that's good enough. 90 minutes of you getting the feel. The next part, the very start, we're going to jump into what you are told is the planets. We didn't touch on none of the planets. All we did was get the foundation of the 12 houses. The next part 2, we starting off right with the planets. I love you. Share this video. Get it out there. It's going to be harder. It's not going to be as many people. You guys know on the Facebook platform, hundreds and if not thousands of people come and the video seen and shared. I would like to start doing the same over here. So that part is going to have to be on you guys. All right. I love y'all so very much. And it's been an honor to share this time with you. You have a great day. Let me get to my baby. Y'all hear her giving my older kids a handful. Guys, if you're led to help out and sow a financial seed, that'd be awesome. Right now it's on Cash App and PayPal. It's both Iron Bush. Don't let nobody scam you and try to act like it's me. If you're not sure, just reach out to me and ask. Okay? I love you guys.